धन्यवाद स्पीकर सर. I rise.
रिटर्न दे दे. श्री माननीय आप कुछ.
So I rise to move that the bill to give effect to the financial proposals of the central government for the financial year 2019-20 be taken into consideration. Sir, the finance bill, because today honorable members will be discussing on it, I would just want to start the discussions with a few observations which will elaborate on what are the kind of things that we are aiming or proposing to do through the finance bill that we have brought in through the budget. So the finance bill obviously is looking at various taxation proposals, and the taxation proposals are given in detail with the budget documents, but broadly to put them into different compartments so that when the discussions happen, I shall be here to hear the input being given by honorable members, and I shall therefore not make my introductory remarks too long. But to give a broad picture, under the direct taxation, about 7 acts are being amended, keeping in mind the Make in India and furthering the agenda of Make in India. Because today we need a lot more manufacturing within the country, we want to incentivize people to produce things in India. There are several measures under the direct taxation that we are taking up. I'll just flag them off. I'm sure the members are all doing a great deal of in-depth study into them, and it might just help the conversation. So, under the direct taxation, 7 acts which are being touched are the Payment and Settlement Systems Act, Black Money Act, Income Tax Act, Finance Act of 2016, which relates to the income disclosure scheme, the Finance Act of number 2, which is the Securities Transaction Tax 2004, Stuti Act and the Benami Act. So 7 acts are being touched during this Finance Bill number 2. Reduction of corporate, I'm only mentioning some of them so that it will be clearly pointing out the direction in which we want to take the Finance Bill. Reduction in corporate tax rate, incentive to purchase electric vehicles, incentives to startups, boost to affordable housing, incentive to International Financial Service Center, incentives to certain non-banking financial companies, interchangeability of PAN and Aadhaar for these purposes, pre-filling of the returns, furthering the government's agenda on tackling back money, the TGS on cash withdrawal from banks, deduction of tax by individuals or HUS from contract of professional fee payments, compulsory filing of return, quoting of PAN and Aadhaar, strengthening the third-party reporting mechanism, facilities for low-cost electronic payments, and so on. So, on the direct taxation, I'm not getting into further details, but these are the items under which the relevant acts are being amended. Now, under the indirect taxation, 7 acts are being amended so that indirect taxation related matters will have greater simplicity and be effective. So the acts that are being amended for particular features which are mentioned in greater detail are Customs Act, Customs Tariff Act, Goods and Services Tax, the Finance Act of 2002 regarding the roads cess, the Finance Act of 2018 for the special additional excise and central excise which I mentioned, CGST, IGST are being touched. Now the GST alone has 5 different amendments which will have to take place so that there will be ease of compliance for MSME sector, so that ease of paying taxes and simplified measures will come in for prompting digital payment and for improving compliance. So if all those are coming under the GST, and also the dispute redressal is going to have a quick resolution scheme, that's also being mentioned here, which gets under the Finance Act. These are under the indirect tax. Now, there's also an amendment to the PMLA, which is just one act, but this deals with the money laundering cases, and therefore we think it's important. Financial markets are being addressed through about 8 acts which are getting changed. I shall flag them all off. Amendments are being made to the Securities Contracts Regulation Act of 1956. The SEBI Act is being amended. We also have, as was referred, the RBI Act, which is being amended. Insurance Act is being amended, both the 38 and 1972 Act. The Banking Nationalization Act, both of 70 and 80, and the National Housing Bank are also being amended. So, for the financial market's sake, these amendments are taking place because there are specifics on which I can reply subsequently, but the specifics are also mentioned in the budget document, and I'm sure the members are going through them. I'm not going to elaborate on them here and now. Finally, sir, we're also amending a fund-based, the Central Road and Infrastructure Fund Act, which actually sends or allots funds to the states from the center. There is a committee, a principal committee which is headed by the finance minister, and a subcommittee which is headed by the finance secretary, both of which look into funds which go to the states. We are bringing greater clarity into that act. There is nothing which is otherwise significantly be changing, but the clarity which is necessary is what is being brought through that amendment. So in all, if you want to bunch them, direct taxes, indirect taxes, PMLA, financial market, and the Central Road Fund. These are the 5 major categories under which various different amendments are happening. I wouldn't take more time. I'm sure I'll be here to hear the members give us inputs. So thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to speak, sir.